Welcome in, Steelers fans. Today we are doing a Q&A mailbag here. I'm going to be answering all of your questions. These questions come from the live show that we did last Thursday. So whenever you watch this, if there's a question, if there's news that comes out, and one of these questions is irrelevant, don't blame me. All right, guys. So we got the first one coming in here from Dominic Schrader, who says, "Can't wait to watch Darnell Wright dominate at tackle." And I really like Darnell Wright as well, Dominic. I think he's thick, like we talked about. He is meaty, he is big, he is strong, he's really tough to bull rush. He's somebody that I think for sure can play right tackle in the National Football League. He's never played on the left side before, so I think it'll be interesting to see how he does on the left side if the Steelers decide to take him. I probably wouldn't take him at number 17 unless he tests just incredibly at the combine. I'd probably take him at 32, not 17. But hey, if the Steelers got him, I would be one happy camper. All right, guys. Next question here comes from Not Webb's World 1, and he says, "Any chance Pittsburgh drafts Noah Sewell? I predict a slide." I think he's probably going to slide a little bit too. Not only is linebacker kind of a lower position on like the value scale, teams usually try to go for those cornerbacks, tackles, quarterbacks, wide receivers early on in the draft. So Noah Sewell, just the position-wise, it's probably going to slide a little bit. But also there are other players that are better like physical profile players than Noah Sewell, right? Trenton Simpson, longer arms, taller, right? He's bigger. Noah Sewell is an incredible athlete. He runs incredibly fast. He plays extremely physical, but he is a bit raw when it comes to pass protection on defense. Like playing in, and then he has another super chat here, and he says, "More likely to slide, Trenton Simpson or Darnell?" Darnell Wright. I think Trenton Simpson for sure. Trenton Simpson is very, very raw as well. Like when I watch his film, I see a great specimen. I see someone with long arms, someone that runs really fast, somebody that's a big body, somebody that, when he really hits somebody, you can tell the player feels him. But like I just come away disappointed every single game that I watch him. Like he's just not getting it done. Like he's like a step too late in zone coverage. Like he gets manipulated super easy by quarterback eyes. Like he's not a very instinctive player right now. But the thing is with Mike Tomlin is that he really likes these physical pedigree type of guys that have long arms, guys that are physical, guys that are really good players in that regard. So I think that if he falls to maybe pick number 50, I think Mike Tomlin would actually probably consider taking him. But people say he's the number one linebacker in this draft class. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think he might have the highest upside, but his tape is definitely not the best in my opinion. And then we have another question coming in here from Baron Davies, who says, "Do you think the Steelers can ever win a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett as their quarterback with all the elite quarterback talent currently in the AFC?" So this is a tough question, Baron, because the AFC is loaded with great talent at the quarterback position. So you look at a guy like Kenny Pickett, who's maybe not the greatest physical specimen out there. He doesn't have the strongest arm, right? Is he really going to be able to compete against guys like Patrick Mahomes, like Joe Burrow, guys like Trevor Lawrence? I mean, these guys are just, Trevor Lawrence is still young, but he's going to be in the AFC for a very long time, right? Justin Herbert is an incredible talent as well. He's better than Tua Tagovailoa, by the way. Will Scott at Dolphins today. And then Josh Allen, another great player as well. Lamar Jackson, if he stays in Baltimore, of course you have to deal with him. And then you got the fact that Aaron Rodgers might be coming to the conference now with either the Jets or the Raiders. Those are the two top teams that he's being rumored to right now. The Raiders rumors are really getting hot. So if he comes, you have to deal with his ass. And then you got Deshaun Watson, who didn't play great last year. We saw that in the season finale. He's not a fantastic player, but he could still after a year, a full offseason with the guys, he could be pretty good as well. We know he's a superstar talent, but when it comes to Kenny Pickett, I think that although the AFC is extremely competitive right now, you got a bunch of great quarterbacks. I think if you put the right team around Kenny Pickett with Mike Tomlin's coaching ability, I think the Steelers can compete. I can't say I guarantee a Super Bowl like in the next 5 years or anything like that, but I think that the Steelers can remain extremely competitive, especially if they keep that really good defense, if they can establish the run, right? If Kenny Pickett develops from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 and keeps that progression going. going. I think the Steelers can be extremely competitive with guys like Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in the division, right? I think that this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for Kenny Pickett in year 2 to show us what he's got. I really like him as a player, but let me know in the comments section right now. Can Kenny Pickett bring the Steelers to a Super Bowl at quarterback? Type HY if you say hell yes, or type HN if you say hell no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, go ahead and go into the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. For me, I'm going to say hell yes. All right, we got another question coming in from Bray, who asks, who is one player you want on the team? This might be kind of a not great answer, like not a flashy answer. I want Jacoby Brissett as the backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that he's somebody that he knows Matt Canada's offense. He played for him in college, right? Canada was the coordinator at NC State when Jacoby was there. Mitchell Trubisky, he's a fine backup, but it seems to me like he doesn't really want to be in Pittsburgh right now. You can save some cap money by releasing him. You don't want to pay him over the $10 million cap hit that he's scheduled to make next year. And you can bring in a guy like Brissett, who in my opinion is better for like a $4 million contract. He's somebody that I think that if Kenny Pickett, God forbid, gets hurt, Jacoby can come in and he can get you a win. He can win you even a playoff game if the defense is really elite, right? And maybe you make some plays with Najee Harris in the playoffs, right? Jacoby Brissett is a very solid player. He's a very solid quarterback. You can win games with him. And if something happened to Kenny Pickett, I would want Jacoby. All right, Matt Hyde comes in here and he asks, which position is the most important to fill on the team? Now, this is interesting. I think that cornerback is very, very important. I think cornerback is going to be what decides really how well the Steelers do in 2023. If you don't get that position right, I think the defense is going to fall down a bit, right? But if you make the right decisions there and you lock up Cam Sutton, right? Maybe you add another piece in the draft. You get a couple, maybe Akella Witherspoon comes back and has a great year. If you get that position right, that defense is going to be unstoppable next season. And with an unstoppable defense, the Steelers can really do some damage. But left tackle is also very, very important in my eyes. But I'd say corner because in theory, you can still roll with Dan Moore Jr. and he'd be fine. All right, we got a question from Kyle Daughtry, and he asked, there was rumors about the Steelers being interested in Marcus Peters. Thoughts? I hate Marcus Peters. I don't hate him personally. I've never met the guy, but I just don't like the way that he plays. He plays super over aggressive. He used to be really, really good at avoiding pass interference penalties, but now he gets them all the time. He gets way too grabby. I think that he's getting older. He's not as fast as he once was, but he still wants to play that same aggressive brand of football that he's played with his entire career. That made him a really, really good player. He's not that good of a player anymore, but he still thinks he is. I don't like that kind of hubris on the team, so I would say hold off on the Marcus Peters. I don't want him on the team. All right, guys, let's have a word from our sponsor here at BetUS, which is the sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports, and they're offering you guys a fantastic deal right before the Super Bowl here, a 125% deposit bonus on deposits of $100 to $600 if you use promo code Steelers125 at chatsports.com/bet. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can bet on with the Super Bowl. Not only can you bet over-under, all the normal stuff, but they have a bunch of prop bets as well that you can bet on. National Anthem by Chris Stapleton. Do you think it'll be over 125 seconds or less? For me, Stapleton's someone that likes to take his time. I'm going to go with the over there. And then a wardrobe malfunction from Rihanna. I'm going to say no. Like, after what happened to Janet Jackson, I don't think the Super Bowl is ever going to let that happen again. So I'm going to go no on that, yes on the National Anthem. But you can put your bets in right now when you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to get that 125% deposit bonus. All right, we got another question coming in here from Tom McCahill, who goes, Steelers needs lockdown cornerback. I agree with that. Offensive line, yep. Middle linebacker, yep. Defensive tackle, maybe another wide receiver or running back depth as well. So I agree with everything except the running back depth. I think they have like 3 receivers on futures contracts right now. And with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, I think that they're perfectly good with that. I think they could use a blocking tight end. I would add that to the list. You got Freiermuth and Hayward, who are kind of smaller guys, not going to really make much of an impact in the run game. But I agree with pretty much everything you say there, man. You got to hit cornerback and offensive line early in the draft, in my opinion. Next question comes from Chronic Steeler, like that name, and he says, what are your thoughts on re-signing Zach Gentry? Now, Zach Gentry is an unrestricted free agent this year, but he has said that he wants to come back to the Steelers. And you take a look at this guy, man. He is 6'8", 265 pounds. He is a moose. He is huge, man. Like, he is a great blocker in the run game. There's a reason why that he got significant playing time last year, especially on early downs, because this guy can move and affect people in the run game. And I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back, especially on a team-friendly deal, maybe like a $1 million to like maybe $2 million contract. You know, he could play a big role with the Steelers moving forward. He's familiar with the system. There'd be no learning curve there. I think Zach Gentry is one of those players that if you have enough money, the Steelers should absolutely consider bringing back. But let me know in the comment section what you think. Should the Steelers re-sign Zach Gentry, the tight end? Type Y if you think yes, or type N for no and you think he should walk. Next question comes from CM Punk, who asks, if the Steelers don't draft a cornerback, do you think they will try trading for an elite cornerback? Now, first of all, there's not many elite cornerbacks that are available for trade. The only one that you can really think of right now is Jalen Ramsey, who might be asking for a trade here coming up, but his contract is massive. The Steelers' defense is already loaded with expensive contracts. Alex Highsmith is expected to get an extension coming up. So I really don't see them trading for an elite cornerback. In fact, I don't really see the Steelers trading for much of anybody this offseason, if I'm being completely honest with you. All right, guys, so if you want weekly mailbag shows here on the channel here at Steelers Talk, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever we put out new videos, and then also every time we go live. All right, so reason why you want to do that is because if you know when we go live, you know when the next mailbag is, and you can get your question on the show. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now, turn on notifications, become a part of the Noti Gang, and join the party. All right, guys. Rad Swag, he goes on to say, do we get Addison? If so, I'm thinking we trade Highsmith and a third to the Jags for Josh Allen and a first. So you're saying Alex Highsmith and then we get a first-round pick and Josh Allen? Like, I just don't see that happening, man. Like, I think maybe a trade straight up between Highsmith and Josh Allen, but getting an additional first on top of that, I mean, Highsmith played great last year. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that he's that valuable. That's like TJ Watt almost level of a trade package, if you ask me. Then the next question comes from Pow1908, and he says, I feel like Calvin Austin III isn't being talked about enough. How do you think he fits into the team? And it's great that you mentioned this, man. Calvin Austin III, I think, is one of those breakout candidates for the Steelers in 2023. Reason why not a lot of people talk about him right now is because he was out the entirety of 2022, got hurt in training camp, and, but I think that moving into 2023, he is the presumptive slot receiver starter. I think that he's a really good player. I think he's really dynamic in his route running. I'm interested to see how the foot injury affects his foot speed, his short area quickness, because that will be extremely important for him at the next level. He is slender. He's not the best contested catch receiver, but he is a burner. He's a great route runner. He gets open a lot. So I have high hopes for Calvin Austin III in 2023. All right, guys, go ahead and follow me on Twitter here at Jack_Sperry or at SpareDog.football on Instagram. I put up a bunch of Steelers stuff on there. I put my NFL mock drafts on there. So if you want weekly NFL mock drafts, go ahead and follow me on those two as well. I put a bunch of Steelers stuff on there. Kenny Pickett film analysis. Really, if you want just additional Steelers content outside of this show, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry or on Instagram at SpareDog.football.